the second chance month is all about moving from the test to qualification. Now think about this. Qualification for what you are destined to do. So right now we're going through a time to be qualified. You know, the ones who will lead in the next season are the ones who are being qualified in this season. Let's just think about that for a minute. The ones who are being tested are the ones that are being qualified. And the ones that are being qualified in this season are the ones who are going to lead in the next season. Let me ask you this. Where has God been testing you at during this season? You know, I know at the beginning of this, a lot of people went through a lot of fear, of this virus. A lot of people have gone through different stages of being in isolation. And I've seen just a transformation, a blooming and a glowing, a blossoming of people that have been able to transform during this time because God has just been revealing things about themselves. Literally going back to that statement I started this out with, why do I say or why do I act the way that I act? And the Father's using this as a second chance month, Iyar, second chance month, to deal with all these things in our lives so that He can reveal them to us. Why? Because we're going through this test so that we can come out of this test qualified for the next season so that we can lead in the next season. I just want to encourage you. The things that you have been going through in this season are the very preparation for the next season. I don't know about you, but that excites me. That really just kind of gets me pumped up because there's been a lot of things that God's been working out in me during this season. Whatever has been developing in you recently is what you are qualified to move forward in the next season. Let me say that again. Whatever's been developing in you recently is what you are going to be qualified to move in the future. So think about that. I'm just looking on my Zoom screen and, I know that, I'm looking at Chelsea and she's going through, some physical things that have kind of slowed her down. I'm looking at Kamari and she's not even at home. She's in Nebraska. That's crazy. And so you're there because you're serving. You're there because God's doing something different than what you've ever done, And, I'm looking in these different situations of friends and family that'll see this video later on. And there are things that God is doing in our lives because He's developing us for the next season. He's qualifying us for the next season to come. So jump on those why do I act that way moments. Your qualification is at stake. The qualification is the right to do something. Think about that. If I was a doctor, I would have to be qualified to be a doctor. You don't want me roaming in your room and say, hey, I'm here to, you wouldn't even want me giving you a shot, I'm sure. Think about that. I am not qualified to be a doctor. But what I'm going through in this season is qualifying me for my future season. And that, I promise you, is where I will be qualified to move and move quite well. I want to encourage you. The Father is developing something in you because He is qualifying you for that next thing. He's giving you the right to fulfill your destiny because you have the stamp of approval of qualification through this season. Iyar is the second chance month, and qualification is waiting for you. Now let me just change this a little bit and let me talk about history. And in history, there was a famous rabbi named Rabbi Akiva, and he was affected by a plague. Now get this. This is so ironic. I cannot tell you. This is so cool. But in history, Rabbi Akiva, his people and everyone around him, they were affected by a plague. 24,000 people died. He nearly lost all of his students, all of his Talmidim, his disciples, nearly all died. But Rabbi Akiva was able to start his school over again with only 5 remaining students. The plague was ended on the 33rd day of the Omer, which is the 18th day of Iyar, or this month. The 18th of Iyar is, Iyar. You know, when you spell out Iyar and it's a capital I, it looks like an L. Iyar. So the month of Iyar, the 18th of Iyar is the 12th of May. And that's kind of amazing that Rabbi Akiva, he was able to restart. Think about the things that he had to restart. Think about the qualification that he now has. Think about the qualification that the 5 left disciples would have because of what they've gone through. Second chances are coming as this plague, COVID-19, lifts. Let me ask you this. Will you be qualified or disqualified to grab a hold of those opportunities that are coming to you? And second, what will you do with those things that you're being qualified to do right now? So let me finish up by saying this. Those why do I act that way moments need dealt with. And I'm going to give you 5 R's. In those 5 R's, the first one is recognize. Recognizing that you're acting that way. Why do I act this way? The most important thing is recognize why you're acting that way. The first R. The second R is repent. Father, forgive me for acting this way. I recognize that I'm doing this and I'm repenting for doing this. The second one is release. You need to release those around you that maybe have incited the reasons why you were acting that way. But release them and release yourself from the guilt of acting that way. The third one, or the fourth one is this. I can't get that finger moving, but the fourth one is this. Renounce. Renounce those things when you say, why do I act this way? Renounce those actions. I'm not going to do that anymore. And then the final one is this. Ask the Father to restore what He intended for you to be like. Ask Him to restore what the qualification is bringing you into. Let me say this one last time. That word, Shani, second, it literally means El Shaddai is bringing forth life and He's revealing His strength. Let me pray for you. Father, I just thank you for those who are watching this video and for those who are going to receive from this later on. Father, I ask that you would reveal to them the places where they ask, why do I act this way? And then, Father, I thank you that as you are revealing as El Shaddai, that you're bringing life and you're revealing those things. So through your strength, and through the strength of the second chance month, Iyar, you are removing them so that your people will not be disqualified, but they will be qualified to move into the next season. In Yeshua's name, Amen.